small contribution to evening things out. You know, the old yin-yang thing. My Vic was a professional football player who'd invested in an Eastern European slaver. The slaver sent young women all over the world to work as prostitutes. I used the past tense because I took care of that bastard a couple of days ago. The athlete was quick to join him in death. It wasn't pretty, and honestly, I don't feel too bad about that. Most of the Bombays tend to maintain a low profile when it comes to wet work. Making murder look like an accident seems to make them feel better. I don't really go that route. My preferred modus operandi is to actually make it appear to be foul play. And if you knew how bad these people were, you'd probably agree with me. 2 days later, the police and media seemed to think the Russian mafia was responsible, and when the evidence I left behind revealed his crimes, Vic's jersey and status were yanked from the Football Hall of Fame. My mother and the rest of the Bombay Council were pleased. Dad and Ozzy had to call to remind me that technically my Vic didn't play real football. But that's Pop, always splitting hairs. My family history is interesting in a bloodthirsty sort of way. The Bombays have cornered the market on international assassination for hire since ancient Greece. Every infant born into Bombay blood becomes a killer. We begin training at age 5 and progress from there. There is no way out. Once you are born a Bombay, your fate is sealed. No one rebels unless they have a suicide wish. Occasionally one does. What can I say? Every family has at least one idiot. Doesn't yours? The football job took place in Chicago, and a few days later I was in Omaha. The alarm went off at 6 a.m., and I sat up on the edge of my bed, running my hands through my hair. You might think I'm a morning person. Nothing could be further from the truth. I'm actually more of a discipline guy. I get up to make myself functional. The exercise that follows is simply for masochistic purposes. I've been told I'm in excellent shape. It's the discipline thing. "Week, week!" came the brain-splitting cry of my guinea pig, Sart. The minute I wake up, she reminds me that it's time for breakfast. She's affectionate and sweet, but I've always suspected that she considers me to be little more than a servant. "Here you are," I said as I placed a small dish of strawberries, collard greens, and baby carrots in front of her. Sart grunted and began her feast. I walked to the door of my trailer to get the paper. When I'm on the road, which is pretty much always, I like to park my RV in Walmart parking lots. They seem to have a camper cult following. Everyone I've stayed at leaves a newspaper at my door in the morning and has fresh coffee ready before the shoppers arrive. I like that. It's a nice touch. Opening the door revealed a bright, late August. I scooped up the paper and nodded to the older woman standing across from me in the parking lot. It was then I realized that I hadn't put any clothes on. Huh. I shut the door behind me, but not before winking at the lady, and after tossing the paper on a chair, threw on some running clothes. 10 minutes later, I opened the door to find her and several other women standing in the same place. I don't know what they hoped to see, but clearly my having clothes on had been a bit of a buzzkill. Just for fun, I grinned and shouted, "G'day, ladies," with an Australian accent, something I inherited from Dad. That seemed to do the trick. I believe one actually fainted. A good jog always helped clear my head. With my Bombay-appointed duty over for the year and the carnival season coming to an end, it was time to make my plans for fall. I was pretty sure it was time for a sabbatical. I needed a break. Back at the trailer, Sart squeaked indignantly. I scooped her up as I flipped on the television to listen to while I threw breakfast together. Sart wiggled in the crook of my left arm before sprawling out luxuriously. I found an orange and made some toast while the little pig ran up and down the table. There wasn't much on in the news, as usual. I had a gig coming up in rural Nebraska, just a county fair. Then the season would be over for me. Sart nibbled on an orange peel, never taking her eyes off me. Huh. It's sad when your own pet doesn't entirely trust you, but that's the nature of an assassin pet owner, I guess. I gave her some of the fruit and she devoured it. An ad for Disney World came on and somehow managed to get my attention. I clicked off the TV and pulled open my laptop. After a few more hours of research, I decided on my sabbatical.